This Monday, January 27th, NBA Betting Picks edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Monday, January 27th. A lot of games on the schedule here tonight. I believe 12 in the association. So it should be a fun night of hoops. We'll go through each and every game, of course, here on the pod. Get you our lock and dog for the Monday card and wrap it up with an Underdog Fantasy entry as well. But joining me here, of course, on the NBA Gambling Podcast, as usual on the Monday episodes, guys know me as the voice of the MLB Gambling Podcast, Tennis Gambling Podcast, WNBA Gambling Podcast, and of course here on the NBA Gambling Podcast is Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
They're doing pretty well. Can't complain. Had a pretty weird NBA day yesterday where there was only one game and they decided to start in the middle of the fourth quarter of the NFC title game. So I don't really understand the logic behind the schedule yesterday, but either way, a point is one of the two NFL games were fun. Arguably two were if you had money on the Eagles. So can't complain in general, but the NBA card was underwhelming yesterday and looking forward to so many games today.
Yeah, just one game on the schedule yesterday. Like mentioned, it was Thunder and the Blazers. Thunder do get the victory. I believe the Blazers covered the number.
Yeah.
But we're back at it here tonight on Monday. Should be a lot of fun. Some fun matchups here. Got some revenge angles. When I was kind of going through the card, I was like, oh, that kind of stuck out. Oh, that kind of stuck out. But we'll talk about that as we progress here on the NBA pod. But yeah, fun night of football last night. We have the Chiefs and the Eagles going to the Super Bowl rematch of a couple years ago. So definitely looking forward to that. But in the meantime, leading up to the Super Bowl, we've got you covered here for your daily betting with the NBA Gambling Podcast. Got anything from the weekend you want to get off your chest before we get into it?
Well, I got to skip over yesterday's card because I got nothing to talk about there.
Yeah.
But for the sake of Saturday, you had a couple of very interesting games, at least that were competitive. Shout out to Franz, who came back, and he ended up tying a franchise record for most points in the fourth quarter, as the Magic were able to beat the Pistons. A nice win there. Besides that, Boston finally won a game again, so good for them. They won by 15 against Dallas. Timberwolves kicked Denver's ass. That's kind of been a common theme here. You saw Pacers get revenge against the Spurs as they split the two games in France. And then I think game of the day was easily the Rockets getting the victory over the Cavs. A nice triple-double there by Almond.
Yeah, Rockets looking pretty good. They have a matchup tonight against the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference in the Boston Celtics. We'll get to that as well. But yeah, Rockets looking pretty good. Amen Thompson. I can't wait till he does become the full-time starter. I've mentioned that throughout the season. But, with Jabari being out, of course, he's seen an uptick in minutes. But hopefully that continues for this Houston Rockets team. But he was a great pickup over the last, or should say 2 years ago in the draft there. So definitely looking forward to it. All right, Scott, let's get into it here for tonight. We've got 12 games to get through here. We'll start here with the first game. The LA Lakers, they are in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. Hornets catching 5.5 points here at home with a total of 222.5. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, to start here with the road team in the Lakers. They are going to be without the usual suspects, Christian Wood, Bronny James, Jalen Hood-Schifino. Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent are both questionable for this game, and Anthony Davis and LeBron, of course, are both probable in this game here for tonight. For the Charlotte Hornets, we know about Brandon Miller. Unfortunately, will be missing the rest of the season with the wrist surgery. And then we have Trey Mann, who's going to be out, and Cody Martin, who's going to be out as well for this Hornets team. Lakers laying 5.5 on the road in Charlotte here. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Lakers should win. They're the better team. The problem is they're still not very good on the road. And you could argue that after beating the Warriors, maybe it's a letdown spot, I'd say mentally, for the Lakers. I think I'll just go Lakers 1-10 in this game. I feel like at the end of the day, it's a classic game where the Lakers will let the other team hang around when they probably shouldn't. I think they'll win the game in the end because I think the Lakers have more talent. I think that Charlotte's not very good. But LaMelo's healthy again. They got some guys back, Bridges and Mark Williams, who's been very solid this season since they traded away Nick Richards. I'll go with the Lakers, but once again, I think I'll take the Lakers 1-10. Gives me some leeway if the Lakers start messing around again late in the fourth quarter, like we've seen from them time and time again. Decent plus money. Give me the Lakers 1-10.
Maybe a look-ahead spot for the Lakers. They play Philly tomorrow against the Sixers. I don't know. Hornets, this is the third game in 4 night for them, 4th and 6th night, so could be maybe a little bit of fatigue spot. I know Mark Williams didn't play in the last game for the Charlotte Hornets, going to give him the night off, but that game before he played, something just didn't look right for him, so he's maybe dealing with something, and he'll have his hands full tonight against Anthony Davis, and he's been a guy that's been in foul trouble for the Charlotte Hornets, but other than that, like you mentioned, he's been really, really good for them. First leg of a back-to-back, the Lakers are 3-2 ATS. Not much there. Hornets as a home dog this season. They are 12-9 ATS here. So I think I like your call there, 1-10 here. The Lakers should roll in this game. I think my favorite play will be the part of the Lakers team total to go over. Charlotte back to not really playing much defense. They gave up, they only have 92 to the Pelicans, but then 132 to Memphis. They gave up 123 to Chicago a few nights ago. So I think the Lakers can have success on the offensive side. So I'll still lay it here with the Lakers minus the 5.5 and take their team total to go over. Everything for the total?
For the total, be over or pass. You mentioned before, Charlotte's not really guarding anybody. They had a great game over the weekend as they killed New Orleans. They won that game by about 30, but they scored 120 in that game, so I can see some points here. I don't mind the over as well.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. Before we do that, let me just remind everybody to get over to the SGPN merch store in honor of the big game from now until February 9th. 15% off of everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code Big Game. Saw some nice DGen hats that were put up on the merch store, so check those out. A lot of nice color schemes there as well. But make sure you guys use that promo code Big Game. You'll get 15% off of everything in the SGPN merch store using that promo code Big Game. All right, next game on the board, we've got the Houston Rockets. They are going to be in Boston to take on the Celtics. Celtics currently laying 6.5 points here at home with a total of 222.5. Injury report, I'll start here with the Rockets. Healthy squad. Only questionable tag is going to be Cam Whitmore. Of course, we know Jabari is going to be out for several more weeks. For the Boston Celtics, Al Horford is questionable for this game. Also, Derek White is questionable, so keep an eye out for those two players for the Boston Celtics side of things. Ime Udoka returning to his former stomping grounds against the Boston Celtics here, but Celtics laying 6.5 here, Scott.
Yeah, so Boston did kill in the first meeting they played earlier this month. Boston won in Houston by 23. However, Boston has really not been good lately. We saw them beat Dallas. They barely beat the Clippers. They beat Golden State comfortably. But in between, they ended up having a blowout loss against the Lakers. They lost at home to Atlanta, who's pretty shorthanded. They really just not looked the part. And I feel like laying 6.5 against a Houston team that has, I don't want to say fully figured it out, but it feels like they're getting close to it. I'm going to go with the Rockets plus the points. I think Amon in the starting lineup has really unlocked something for this team. Eason being healthy again really helps out defensively with those two together, especially. I think you're looking at a spot where Houston keep this game close. I like the under, though. I know that Houston had a very high-scoring game against Cleveland. Cleveland, though, is one of the best offenses in the league. Boston offensively has been kind of up and down. The shooting has not been as good lately as we've seen from them previously, and whether it involves months or even years. So I'll go with the under in this game. First game, once again, didn't even get to 200. And this one's at 222.5. I'll go with the under in this one, but I think Houston hangs around.
Yeah, the only part that makes me nervous, I mean, historically, but I don't know how much you can really take away from. Well, the last 9 matchups, I should say, the Celtics have won 8 out of those 9 matchups against the Rockets. This dates back to 2021. You mentioned earlier this season they won by 23 points to the Boston Celtics in Houston.
They only gave up 83 points there. So like, even with Boston winning, they only scored 109. So I think the total's pretty high.
So, yeah, I'll take the points here with the Rockets. They're just playing really good basketball right now. We talked about it coming off the Cavs victory. Boston, I think you and I talked about this on the last episode that either, I don't know, just like playing with their food a little bit. So Again, you mentioned Amen Thompson's playing really well. I think Şengün should have a lot of success on the interior. Rockets should have success rebounding the basketball in this game as well, because again, like we mentioned, Amen Thompson and both Şengün have done really well. It's just the fact, can they knock down the shots in this game and not have Dylan Brooks jacking up stupid shots in the fourth quarter. But I'll put the faith in the Rockets here, plus the 6.5. I like your under call. Rockets, I think anytime you see them give up a lot of points, they usually come back the next game and play hard-nosed defense. And I think there's another opportunity for them to do that. I think they'll be locked in on the defensive side. Under would be the look here for me as well. You got anything else for Rocket Celtics?
Not really. I don't mind Amon. I'm trying to think if I want to go for his rebounds in this game or not, because I do think that he's going to have to help crash the glass.
Yeah.
I mean, Amon's really, really good.
Mhm.
I'm happy that he's actually getting some starting time. And you could argue that it's only because of the injury to Jabari Smith, but it might be a blessing in disguise because he should 100% be starting every game.
Yeah. And that's what I keep mentioning until they trade or whatever, do with Fred VanVleet and when Amen Thompson takes over as the full-time point guard.
That's an off-season thing, right? Like, I doubt they're going to trade VanVleet as the 2 seed in the West.
I don't think, and that's the whole thing, right? Like, we're sitting as a number 2 seed right now in the Western Conference, and the things that I've read, like, they don't really want to mess with the chemistry and make any significant roster changes because they're playing so well right now, and just want to carry that momentum for the rest of the season and see what happens in the playoffs. But yeah, I think that would be more of an off-season thing, at least something monumental or comes about. Somebody comes knocking on the door for some of these players. I'll mention this for Thompson: 2 matchups in his career against the Boston Celtics, has recorded double-digit rebounds in each of those 2 games, 10 rebounds and 14 rebounds. So if you want to get back on a rebounding prop here for Thompson, wouldn't be able to talk you off of that. All right, next game on the board, we'll go over to the Detroit Pistons. They are in Cleveland to take on the Cavs. Cavs laying 11 points in this game with a total of 235. Looking at the injury report here, I'll start here with the Detroit Pistons. They are going to be questionable tag, I should say, on Tobias Harris, and then the usual guys, of course, Jaden Ivey are out for this game. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Karis LeVert, Isaac Okoro, and Dean Wade are all out. So some depth pieces missing here for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavs in a little bit of a rut here. Maybe kind of just the ebbs and flows of the regular season, but they did get Evan Mobley back in the past game, so you have your starting 5 at least intact here. But Cavs laying 11 here, Scott, against the Pistons.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the points. I don't feel great about it, but 11.5's a lot to lay for a Cleveland team that's kind of been going through it, as you said before. They can still score a bunch of points. That's the problem, because I think Cleveland can outscore Detroit if both offenses are, I'd say, average for the sake of the course of the game. I think Cleveland's default offense is a lot better than Detroit's, but I have a hard time backing Cleveland based on how much they've been getting torched defensively lately. Now, Detroit did lose to Orlando. Franz had a monster fourth quarter. Beat Atlanta on the road by 10, beat Houston on the road by 11. So they have been doing pretty well on the road recently. Cleveland, though, played at home against Houston, gave up 135. They lost to the Sixers over the weekend, giving up 132 in that game. Played Houston, lost by 1 the game prior. I get that Mobley's back, and they're 21-3 at home. 11.5's a lot for a team that's really just not playing much defense right now, whether Mobley's active or not, because Mobley came back and they still gave up 130 to Houston over the weekend.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Detroit. I don't feel great about it, but 11.5, until I see Cleveland kind of get it together again, I don't want to lay this big of a number. I'll take Detroit plus the points.
Yeah, as soon as I started handicapping this game, Tobias Harris is present at shoot around here, so keep that in mind here. Yeah, I like this Detroit team. We've talked about them a lot, with Cade, how well he's playing. I know they were without Jaden Ivey, but Jalen Duren's having a great season as well for this Detroit Pistons team, and different guys have been stepping up. I think I just want to continue fading the Cavs in their rut here. I think that, again, I think they could get the victory, but I think the Pistons can keep this one close. So until I see the Cavs, start turning it around, you mentioned the numbers at home for them, but I think the Pistons can keep this game close here. So I'll take the plus points as well. Anything for the total?
It's so tricky because it's such a high total for Detroit, but Cleveland doesn't guard anybody at the moment. I'm really on the fence, honestly, for the total. I don't have much. I think I'm going to go with the contrarian under. First game did end up landing 214. I know that was
Mhm.
back in October, so that is pretty dated, but
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go under on this one. It's mostly just not wanting to back a total that high with Detroit. I'm hoping that I'd say mentally Cleveland buckles down defensively.
Mhm.
They've been a mess, and
Yeah.
Mobley's back now, so I'm hoping that can kind of get them back on track here. I'll go under. Probably not going to bet on it, but I think 235 is a pretty high total for Detroit. I'll go under. I think it'll land somewhere in the high 220s.
Yeah, and I can't really put a lot of stock into what's the head-to-head matchups over the past several seasons, or at
They're
least
so dated, and Cleveland's good now. Like it's pretty
yeah,
tough to
Cleveland
evaluate.
and
And
Detroit's
Detroit,
good at yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's what's kind of keeping me off of the total here. So just hoping that the Pistons are able to keep this one competitive against the Cavs in this matchup. All right, before we get over to the next game on the schedule here, let me tell everyone about our friends over at Edge Boost. Hey, look, SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. The best part is no credit checks and it's completely free. Sign up today and use the promo code SGPN so you can get better cashback rewards and instant tier 2 status. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Again, edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your favorite place to bet every sport, plus props for every game and the live dealer casino. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Easily deposit and lightning fast payouts using cryptocurrency. Head over to mybookie.ag, use that promo code SGPN promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit but match up to $1,000. Plus, they'll also throw a $10 casino chip in there as well. So that's mybookie.ag. Use that promo code SGPN. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the board, we want to get to maybe the game of the night. We've got the Memphis Grizzlies. They are in Madison Square Garden to take on the New York Knicks. Knicks are laying 3.5 points here at home with a total of 241. Injury report, start here with Memphis. Santi Aldama is questionable for this game, as well as Jake LaRivia. Players that are out, the usual suspects: Marcus Smart, Cam Spencer, Vince Williams Jr., and Zach Edey is available to play in this game. For the New York Knicks, Josh Hart is questionable, and Mitchell Robinson is going to be out for some more time. Don't know what's going on with him because I did see a note over the weekend that he's still going to be out for some time. Knicks laying 3.5 at home here, Scott, against the Grizzlies. What are you thinking?
First glance over. I think that the Grizzlies, every game, they don't guard anybody. So I feel like that's where I'm going to start off with. Knicks have some injury question marks. Josh Hart might not play. We'll see what happens there. But I just don't see much defense being played. The Knicks defensively have been a team that I'd say we've been surprisingly disappointed with, because with Thibodeau, you'd assume they'd be great defensively and they'd go from there. Now, they've been mostly an offensive team, actually, so far this season. But the Grizzlies play fast. They like to try to outscore teams, and I see a lot of pace in this one, a lot of points. I'll go with the over, just simply put. I feel like every Memphis game is kind of a blind over unless there's a reason not to take it. And Ja's playing. Seems like everyone worth a damn's playing for the Grizzlies. If Josh Hart's out, you could actually argue that might be better for the over, because Hart's still a very good rebounder defensively, and he's also a good defender. So maybe that'll cause a little bit of a defensive, I'd say, lapse in this game for New York, maybe. But I'll go with the over in this one. Do I want to lay 3.5 with the Knicks? Not really. I think it's a pure coin toss game. I think that it could go either way, so it's Memphis or pass. I like the over, though. I feel like every Memphis game has a decent chance of getting into the 250s.
Yeah.
So give me the over, and that's my favorite play.
Yeah, that was my initial first click, was the over in this game for everything that you did mention with this Grizzlies team. Yeah, I think, I don't know if this was a joke or not, but I did see that I guess Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart were watching the NFC Championship game together. And Josh Hart ended up leaving early, and he said need to get some sleep because somebody has to play defense tomorrow. So I don't know how much validity there is to that statement, but yeah, I would lay it here with the Knicks. Knicks have been pretty good, at least at home in Madison Square Garden. You mentioned the stats for the total. Until we see that the Grizzlies start playing some type of defense, I can't back them because they can again just give up 140 plus per game. They have 126 to the Pelicans. I think that's a little bit telling. They're 120 to the Charlotte Hornets.
That's the point, though. They're not going to change anything because they keep winning.
Yeah, that's true as well. And then the Knicks coming off a game where they scored 143 against the Kings here. So I love the over in this game with you. As far as the side, I would look at the Knicks minus 3.5, but should be a fun game to watch here on the Monday card. Got anything else for Grizzlies Knicks?
Not really. Once again, I just see a bunch of points. If Hart's going to be out, I think Cat rebounds is going to be an auto play at that point. But I don't really have much else. I feel like it's just going to be a game featuring a bunch of points. If you want to go for job, maybe double. His assist should be in a decent spot. I know Bane's been very good recently for the RA. That could work out too. But now I just see a bunch of points in this game.
All right. Next game on the board, we have the Sacramento Kings. They are in Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Kings currently laying 11.5 here on the road with a total of 224. Injury report. Start here with the Sacramento Kings. Where are the Kings? Here they are. Pretty clean injury report. Nobody really on there as far as injuries go. For the Brooklyn Nets, we have Bojan Bogdanovic out. Cam Johnson is out. Cam Thomas is out. And then we have a questionable tag on Ben Simmons in this game here. So, Kings, obviously the more healthy squad. Nets missing some key guys, as they have been. Kings laying 11.5 here on the road here, Scott, against the Nets. What do you think?
Yeah, so the Nets are horrible. We already know this. They've been fully punting games. Miami beat them over the weekend. I do want to point out, though, for the injury report, seems like everyone's going to be playing that I really care about. I mean, Cam Johnson's going to be out, but you have D'Angelo Russell who's back, and you're looking at the Kings who are fully healthy. So that definitely counts for something. I think for this one, I'm going to go with the over in this game. I know that the Nets don't really score much, but I do think with D'Angelo Russell playing, that actually gives them some type of identity where they're just going to spam pick and rolls, let D'Lo try to drop like 20 and 10 in this game. The Kings offensively, though, can drop 120. Wouldn't shock me at all in this game. The Nets, though, have been a pretty good under team because they really can't score.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if there's one game where they can potentially get to like 105 or like 110, maybe Sacramento is going to be it. I don't mind the over, and the Kings push pace. I can see a bit of a higher scoring game here. Kings also a bit of revenge because I know the Nets beat them in Sacramento earlier this season. So maybe that could be a spot where the Sacramento's a bit extra focused. Got killed by the Knicks in their last game. They've given up 132 plus in 2 straight. So they really don't guard anybody. I think I'll go with the over in this one, actually. That might surprise some people. But the Kings right now aren't guarding anybody. The Nets, we know defensively, have been underwhelming. They can't really score, but I think it's a good matchup to maybe buy low on the Nets' recent totals. I'll go with the over in this one. The Kings are so tricky to want to lay double digits with, though, because they really just punt games defensively all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go over, and I'll just call it a day. If the Nets covered it, I would not be shocked. I'll put it that way, but I'll go with the total instead.
Yeah, the Kings have actually scored 120 plus points in 5 straight games.
And they've lost 2 in a row.
So that just kind of tells you, giving up 130 plus over their last 2 games. Brooklyn, I mean, you mentioned, right, the offensive woes just because they don't have guys that are available, or at least their scorers have not been either healthy or just been sitting out, or whatever the case might be, or if you want to call it tanking, whatever the case might be. But they've also been playing, I think you can say, pretty good defense, at least over the last 3 games. I mean, they held the Knicks to 99 points, 108 against the Suns, 106 against the Miami Heat. I think that the pace from the Kings in this game will probably force the Brooklyn Nets to speed it up here a little bit. And again, like you mentioned, Scott, that the Kings just not playing any type of defense. So even if I think the Nets score 100 plus points here, I think that this could push this over the total here in this matchup. The head coach for the Nets is from the Kings branch, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe some familiarity with some of these players here for their head coach. So, I mean, I'm kind I would take the points at home. I'm not going to bet it, but since we pick every game, I'd take Nets plus.
I really don't want to
11.5.
lay 11.5 with Sacramento.
Yeah, and that's the thing, especially the way that they're playing defense. So I'd agree with Scott here. The over or the Kings team total over would be the look here for me in this matchup. Next game on the board, we'll go over to the Orlando Magic. They are in South Beach to take on the Miami Heat. Numbers on the move. Now Magic up to 2.5, currently over on mybookie.ag. Make sure you use that promo code SGPN. Total of 208. Injury report to start here with the Orlando Magic. They did see the return of Franz Wagner, as we talked about at the top of the episode. Did just see a note that Jalen Suggs did participate in shoot-around, as well as Goga Batadze also participated. He's been dealing with a concussion, so seems like those two guys may end up playing here tonight. Of course, no Mo Wagner for this Orlando Magic team. For the Miami Heat, Tyler Hero is available, and Jimmy Butler should be back for this game after being suspended for 2 games for missing the team flight and making the team wait for several hours on the Terminac there. But Magic, Heat here. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Jimmy Butler, PRA under. I'll go back to it. I believe he's gone under every game since I brought it up. Since he had that press conference talking about the joy of basketball and how it's lost, he's gone under in every single game for PRA. For this one, though, I mean, Miami's been playing fine. Believe it or not, Miami's only half a game back of Orlando for the division because the division's absolutely horrible in the Southeast. But Orlando was on a losing streak because they couldn't score. Then Franz came back. They scored 121 against Detroit. However, we know that they're a lot better at home than on the road. Miami, Jimmy Butler, the whole situation just such a distraction. Like, if he comes back, do I think the Heat are going to be fully engaged in the game? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's a massive sideshow at this point. I'll go with Orlando. Is a common theme for totals on this show. I like the over in this game. The fact is, if you think Orlando can actually score now, because they have Paolo and they have Franz, 2 of the 3 meetings this season did get into the 210s, and one got into the 220s. One got into the 230s, actually. The last meeting was a rock fight at 89-88 in Orlando. But I do think at the end of the day, when you're looking at the Magic getting their 2 best players back, Miami's relatively healthy, it's a pretty low total when a lot of teams have their firepower. So I don't mind the over, but I can't really back Miami. I'll go back to Jimmy Butler under PRA. Once again, until it loses, I'll keep taking it. Yeah. And we're like 3-4 weeks in, it still hasn't lost because A, he either keeps going under or B, keeps getting suspended again. So I'll go with the under again for Butler PRA.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off of that. Honestly, it just depends on how many minutes like Eric Spoelstra wants him to be out there.
That's also the point, is that Spoelstra's, I'm sure, pissed off too. So he might just not play him in the 4th quarter again.
Yeah. I love the Magic in the spot here. I think that, again, like you mentioned, with Franz Wagner being back and Paolo Banchero, those, I know the minutes maybe fluctuating, I should say, for at least Wagner, since this will be his 3rd game back. But after that masterclass he put up in that 4th quarter against the Detroit Pistons on Saturday, I mean, you probably just want to let him get out there and just play his usual minutes. He did play 30 in the last game there. So if he's hovering anywhere from 30 to 32 minutes, along with Paolo Banchero, getting Jalen Suggs back, team's finally getting healthy. I love this spot here for the Orlando Magic. I'm laying
big game too. If they win this, they win the season head-to-head against Miami.
Yeah, so big game for them. So -2.5 here for the Orlando Magic. Mentioned the total. I don't have much for the total here. I do. It's up to 209 now, so you're on the right track here, Scott, as far as the total goes. But I think I would look at Franz Wagner PRA. I'll see if he is going to have some type of limitation on his minutes. I know Paolo, once he came back from the same injury, was hovering around 25 to 27 minutes. But I mean, you have your 2 guys back. Just let them be out there. It's time for you to start winning games again. So I'll take the Franz Wagner PRA to go over in this game here. Anything else for this matchup?
No, I see Jamrock mentioning that the PRA for Butler is at 22.5. Yeah, sure, I'm good. That's fine. Once again, until it goes over, I'll keep taking the under. So I'll ride it.
All right. Next game on the board, we'll go over to the New Orleans Pelicans. They are on the other side of the border to take on the Toronto Raptors. Pelicans are laying 2 points here on the road with a total of 233.5 up to 234 now in some spots. injury report. I'll start here with the road team in the Pelicans. Where are the Pelicans? Here we go. So the usual suspects are out: Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram. DeJounte is questionable for this game. He's dealing with the right elbow and a finger injury. Zion is playing in this game. For the Raptors, Kelly Olynyk, Jakob Poeltl, and Ochai Abachi are all questionable here tonight. And then Emmanuel quickly remains out for the Toronto Raptors. Pelicans laying 2 here at Pelicans laying 2 points on the road here in Toronto. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go with Toronto money line in this game. I do want to ask you, maybe
Sure.
it's just based on recent opponents because Jalen Johnson was banged up and he was trying to play. Trae Young was banged up. He was trying to play. Toronto's won 5 of 6.
Mhm.
Is Toronto actually decent?
I like their. How should I phrase this?
I think
know
they're
last-
underrated, even though they're not like a great team. I think that they've been pretty sneaky lately. They're not bad.
Yeah, and I think that again with this, with last season we talked about, like we knew that the team was going to break up or trades and transactions were going to happen. But I think they're trying to figure out like who they want to build their franchise around, right? Or obviously Scotty Barnes, but getting the Grady Diggs, the RJ Barrett, who's been playing very well. I don't know. I can't trust this Pelicans team here.
They're 4-18 on the road. Like I really don't want to lay points. We saw them play Charlotte. Zion came back in the game. They still lost by 31.
Yeah.
31 to Charlotte with no Brandon Miller, and you got Zion back. Like I can't. Toronto, we know they're not a good team, but at home they have been a lot more competitive. They're 13-32. They're 10-13 at home. Like they're a lot better in Canada than they are elsewhere. New Orleans, though, they're terrible everywhere. They've lost back-to-back games comfortably. Even Utah, they had a war. That game they won by 4 in overtime. But I think New Orleans on the road, I just can't back. Toronto, though, winning 5 of 6. Quietly been pretty good. I'll back Toronto at home again.
Yeah, we know they've not been very good at home. On the road have the Raptors, but they've been really good. They're 13-5-1 ATS as a home underdogs this season are the Raptors, 11-8 in the first half. So I'm going to go with the Raptors here. Give me the +2. I think this should be a good big Scotty Barnes game. RJ Barrett plays very well in Toronto. Grady Dick has been pretty good for this team as well. It's just the fact, can you really trust this Pelicans team? And I think the answer is a resounding no. Should be a big night on the boards. If Jakob Poeltl ends up playing in this game, I will be on his rebounding prop. If not, Scotty Barnes. But I think that this should be a pretty good rebounding night for either one of those two guys. Anything for the total, Scott?
I'm not taking an under with New Orleans. They gave up 123 to Charlotte. I mean, they only scored 92 in that game, but it's kind of tricky because Toronto defensively has actually been really good. You have 94 to Atlanta. I know the other game was a high-scoring one. 93 to Orlando. They gave them 97 to Boston. Like, they've been okay defensively. I think I'll actually go with a hot take here. Give me New Orleans team total under in this game. I'll ignore the full game total because I don't want to really bet on Toronto's offense. But this defense has been better. It's why they've been winning. And we saw New Orleans score 92 against Charlotte, and they don't guard anybody. So I'll go with the Pelicans team total under. Should be around like 117.5, give or take. That's a very high number on the road for New Orleans. Give me the Pelicans team total under.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. Or before we do that, let me tell everyone about our good old friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Look, Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems, NFL, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. And you can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. So sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a special pick and a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, that's underdogfantasy.com. Make sure that promo code NBASGPN. Stay tuned at the end of the episode. As always, Scott and I will put together our Underdog Fantasy entry here for tonight. But again, underdogfantasy.com. Make sure that promo code NBASGPN. And also, we're brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered back sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. The first ever Rivals Week just ended. It's a great time right now to still capitalize on your Rhythm subscription. and cash in on matchups for this week as well. Rhythm's data backed predictions account for recent player performances, injuries, and player and team trends to ensure you have everything you need to know when placing your bets. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, NBA, honestly, Rhythm, they have it all. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All righty, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the board, we'll get over to the Denver Nuggets. They are in Chicago to take on the Bulls. Nuggets laying 9.5 on the road here with a total of 248 here, Scott. Injury report. Looking at the Denver side of things, where are the Denver Nuggets? Gotta scroll down. All right, here we go. Pretty clean injury report for them. Nobody is on there, in fact. For the Chicago Bulls, Kobe White is going to be out for this game, as well as Torrey Craig. But this should be a fun matchup. Probably expect to see a lot of points in this one here, Scott. But what are your thoughts on Denver and Chicago?
Yeah, my first thoughts is a trivia question for you. Did you see what Joker's triple-double price is for this game?
So I looked at his RA last night. It was 24.5, which I believe I've never seen it that high for him. So I'm going to say minus 400
for triple-double?
Yeah,
that's too high. It was like minus 150.
Okay, all right.
Which is still one of the higher numbers I've ever seen. Like I'm trying to remember what prime Russ was when he was with like Washington or OKC when he was just averaging a triple double basically. But 150, like Joker might get there in 3 quarters. That's the prop I want to see. I want to see like FanDuel or DraftKings at a prop,
which quarter?
Which is like, will Joker get a triple double in 3 quarters? Like that's what I want to see added. There's no reason why that isn't a prop already because it feels like he gets there every time.
Yeah,
I mean the total opened up in the like mid 240s and now it's at 248. I know the Bulls don't play much defense, but damn, they're picking each team to score 130 in this game.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really tricky for me because I don't know if I want to lay 9.5 with Denver, but they have been good lately. They should be motivated as Minnesota killed them last game. Minnesota just had their number ever since the playoff series last year. I think for this one, it's really tough, honestly. Like, do I really want to bet an over 248 and just hope that they get into the 250s? Because Chicago could be an idiot. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Chicago blew this entire total.
I think you probably just look at Denver team total over then. Like, even in spite of being 125 plus, I still think that offensively they've been good. It's the fact you trust them to cover a big number on the road.
Yeah, I think the main move would probably be Denver team total over, but you're still backing them to score 130. I mean, spoiler, if this game goes over the total, Denver scoring 130. So I'll go Denver team total over, I guess. But I mean, damn, this is a game I'm really not that interested in.
Yeah, this was the tricky one for me as well. You would think that they bounce back after giving up the amount of points that they did.
The bounce back might be offensively. They might still give up a ton of points.
Yeah.
Like out of all teams that would have a 250 total, basically, would the Bulls be on your short list? Because they probably wouldn't be for me.
I think because they've been I want to say it's been at home. They've been a very profitable team towards the over. Let me double check here.
No, the last couple games though, they scored 97 at home against the Sixers. Scored 106 against Golden State. They held the Clippers to 99. Scored 102 against Portland. Like they haven't done anything offensively for the last week. Like it's a massive total for Chicago of all teams.
Yeah, so they've been a profitable team on the road, I should say. And at home, it's not really significant. They're just 8-7 towards the over.
It's kind of nuts though. 97 against the Sixers last game, and your total's 248.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Denver would team total, like we said, is the play as far as a total if you want to take an over. I'll lay it here with Denver. I'm not sure I can trust this Bulls team. It's just, again, without Kobe White out there, I think that you're relying really on
this Levine who's going to try to have an audition, I guess, trying to drop 40. Vucevic who's been great, and you're hoping that Giddey has a decent shooting game for once.
God, Giddey has cost me so much damn money.
I know. You keep like hoping for him to have a triple-double spot, and then his minutes get pulled in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that, and then he just keeps on taking rebounds away from Vucevic. It happened to me against, I think it was a Clippers game last week.
And you have Lonzo somewhere in there who's taking minutes away too. Like it's a weird scenario they got going on.
Yeah. So, yeah, Denver team total, and I'll lay it here. Jokic triple-double.
According to
How do you
Amanda,
pair
though,
it?
it has been bet down, or at least the juice came down. So I think now it might be like minus 115. But I saw FanDuel overnight did have minus 150 for triple double, so I did see that. Now I see minus 130. I see 130 on DraftKings right now is the price.
I mean, just to put it into context, they matched up. I think it was no, that was against the Jazz. I'm sorry, but I think he has, excuse me, a big game on the boards. This Jokic, because he always does. But
I can look up the game log. I know he hasn't had triple double though in each of the last 2 games against the Bulls. As the last couple games, I want to
the
say
last one,
he got ejected in the first one, the most recent one. He played 16 minutes, had 4 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Yeah, he was going to have a triple double in that game.
yeah.
A game before that, 28, 16, and 9, 18, 12, and 8, 8, 6, and 14. All right, sure. 17, 12, and 15, 34, 15, and 9, 39, 14, and 9. He's probably going for a triple double.
It feels like just 6 points and rebounds to go over if you don't want to take the triple double.
Yeah,
Jokic,
could be, but once again, the last meeting he was on pace to have one, then he got ejected. So it's kind of tough to evaluate, but they haven't faced off in over a year. So we'll see what happens. But if Denver gets into the 130s, you're looking at Joker probably getting a triple double. The question is, will Joker and Westbrook get triple doubles together again?
Yeah, or does Chicago keep this competitive enough where Jokic plays significant minutes in that fourth quarter? Because he plays the entirety of the first and the third. And then I think this was the last game or the game prior where they were blowing out. I don't think he came back in the game. And I had the RA to go over and didn't get there. It fell short, but I think like a couple stats there. But all right, anything else for this game?
No, not really. Once again, I don't know if I actually want the over in this game at 248 because the Bulls have been really bad offensively. But the total's been flying. So maybe if you think Denver scores a bunch and you're skeptical of Bulls, maybe alt spread. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving here. Next game on the board, we got the Atlanta Hawks. They are visiting the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves laying 10 points here at home with a total of 217.5. Injury report started here with Atlanta. Pretty big injury report here for them.
They're missing their 2 best players.
Yeah, so Trey's going to be out. Jalen Johnson is out. DeAndre Hunter is questionable. Larry Nance is questionable. A lot of questionable tags to say the match. And like Scott mentioned, their top 2 guys are going to be out for this game. For Minnesota, of course, we know Dante DiVincenzo is going to be missing some time here for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Other than that, it's a pretty clean injury report here for them. Should be a spot where the Minnesota Timberwolves roll here, Scott, winning by double digits. But what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, Minnesota had a great game against Denver, but was that their Super Bowl? Because they constantly underachieve against bad teams. Atlanta, though, has no talent at all. I know that they were able to beat Boston earlier this season, missing Trey, but you still had Jalen Johnson, who had a triple-double in that game. I mean, when you're missing your 2 best players, what does Atlanta have? You're hoping that guys step up. Dyson Daniels more of a defensive guy. You're hoping that Krejci could have a solid game, maybe a Kunku on the boards with Capella, but even DeAndre Hunter might not play. And Hunter's been very good for them this season. So I'm not really a fan of much because I don't want to lay this with Minnesota, but I kind of have to.
Yeah.
I think I have to go Timberwolves because the Hawks have nobody that I really like at the moment that it's fully guaranteed to play. Like Hunter's been solid, but he might not play too. So I don't really have much. I feel like it's a spot where the Hawks are going to struggle, I'd say, to keep up offensively when you don't have many guys. So I'll go with Minnesota. I don't mind Atlanta team total under potentially, but I see a really ugly offensive game for the Hawks. You have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that I really don't. I mean, it should be a spot where Minnesota rolls in this game. But again, it feels like you mentioned, a letdown spot coming out for the game after Denver. I think, this, if there was a game I could cross off the list and not bet or not have to pick, it would probably be this one. But for show purposes, I'll just lay it here with Minnesota. I think that without their top 2-3 guys here for Atlanta, it might be difficult for them to score points here tonight. I think that Minnesota could take care of business. Trying to see if this is like a first leg of a back-to-back for Minnesota, but no, their next game is in Phoenix on Wednesday night, so nothing really. And then the Hawks' next game is not till, what's today? I think till Thursday night until they play the Cavs at home. So, all right. You got anything else for this game?
Not really. Once again, I think it's an ugly game in general. Atlanta, I'll put it this way. If they hang in there, they need a monster game from somebody. And based on the active roster, I don't know who that would be. Like Bogdanovich maybe from 3 off the bench? I got no idea.
Dyson Daniels is what you're relying on,
He's
I
not really
guess.
a serious offensive guy. He's more of a
Right.
defensive guy. So,
Yeah.
and Hunter might not play. So I guess Bogdanovich threes if you want to make an argument for Atlanta.
Yeah. All right. Next game on the board, we'll go with the Washington Wizards. They are in Dallas to take on the Mavericks. Mavericks laying 12.5 in this game with a total of 231.5. Injury report. Start here with Washington. Pretty clean. The usual suspects: Bagley III, Sadiq Bey, Malcolm Brogdon. For Dallas, let's see here. So they are going to be without some big pieces. So of course we know Luka continues to be out. Maxi Kleba is going to be out for some time. He just suffered a right foot fracture. Derek Lively is out. Najee Marshall is out, and Dwight Powell is out. So this team is very thin up front. It looks like it will be the Daniel Gafford show going up against his former team here, Scott. But Mavs laying 12.5 here with a total of 231.5.
Yeah, so for this one, Dallas is still missing Luka, but the Wizards are a bad team. Dallas got killed by the Celtics over the weekend, but Boston, you could argue, was annoyed, and they were able to take some frustrations out on this team. Do I want to lay 12.5 with Dallas? No. Having said that, the Wizards are 1-20 on the road. 1-20. I think I'm going to take the points.
Oh.
I don't feel great about it, but I think the Wizards can somewhat hang in there. They lost to the Suns by 10, lost to the Clippers by 17. I mean, Dallas beat OKC because they just own that team for some reason. But they ended up losing to Minnesota by 1. They ended up losing to Charlotte by 5. Wizards have lost 13 straight games, though. They're the worst team in the league by far. But 12.5 for Dallas, it's a lot of points. I think I'll take the Wizards to somewhat hang in there, but I am not going to bet on this game from a side or a total perspective. I like some props. I don't mind Gafford in this game. But I think that 12.5 for this Dallas roster, it's a lot for a team that I'm not really thrilled by right now. And they have no front court depth, by the way, at all. That's why I like Gafford. But Lively's out. Even Dwight Powell's out. Kleber just broke his leg. He's out indefinitely. They have no front court depth at all. So they have some injuries they're dealing with. I'll go with the Wizards plus the points. It's just a big spread.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're 1-20 on the road. I know it's not fun.
Yeah, but what's the ATS numbers, though, for them on the road?
That I don't have, but it's probably not good.
So Wizards on the road this season. Overall, they are ATS. Where are they? So Wizards on the road as an away dog. 8-12 ATS, which isn't too bad considering they've only won one game. 18-25 overall ATS wise, but yeah, Gunman, I guess I'll go with you. Plus the points here. I like props in this game more than anything, but I do like the over in this game. I think that, again, no defense will be played in this game. I think the Wizards can score theirs, and with the Mavericks, obviously with Clay, Kyrie, I think, like you mentioned, I do like Gafford point PR in this game going up against his former team. But I do like the over 231.5. I think we see points in this game. You have anything for the total?
Not really. No. What do I even want? I'll go with the under, I guess, because the Wizards have scored less than 101 points in 3 of the last 4. So I'll go under, but I'm not happy about it. Like, I don't know. It's an ugly game. Give me a classic double-digit dog covers because the game's disgusting. And no other reason than that. So give me the Wizards, and I'll give me the under.
This was a matchup earlier this season in DC, but
they lost by like 38 points. Like they got
that was with Luka as well. So 137-101 in favor of the Mavs there. But yeah, this is one of the, I guess, uglier matchups for the Monday card. All right, Scott, 2 games left here. Let's go with the Milwaukee Bucks. They are in Utah to take on the Jazz. Jazz are catching 9 points here at home with a total of 236.5. Injury report. Start here with the Milwaukee Bucks. AJ Green and Chris Middleton are both questionable for this game. Bobby Portis is out for personal reasons. And Giannis is probable for the game. For the Utah Jazz, they have questionable tags on Jordan Clarkson and John Collins. and Walker Kessler. Colin Sexton is available, and Tyler Hendricks and Johnny Chusang are out for this game. Seems like Lauri Markkanen will be playing this game. Cody Williams is also out for this game as well for the Jazz. So I guess their starting lineup projected is Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, and we'll see the status of John Collins and Walker Kessler if they do end up playing in this game. Nonetheless, Bucks laying 9 points here on the road, Scott, against the Jazz. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So for this one, I think I have to go with Milwaukee. It's really just tough to find hope for Utah because I don't think this team's any good. But you could argue with Sexton, with Markkanen projected to play, they can maybe hang in there. I mean, Markkanen playing is a big deal. We know that they're a lot better, of course, when he does end up playing in the game. But damn, Milwaukee could really score 135 points in this game.
Yeah.
It's really, really tricky. I think I'd go with the over in this one instead. I think Markkanen playing will definitely help out. Kessler might not play. If he doesn't play, they have no rim protection at all. So I think that could be, once again, another spot where Milwaukee can get the job done while scoring a bunch of points. I know Dame's had a couple triple-doubles lately, one win and one loss, I believe, in those games. But I think I'll go with the over, and I think I'll go with the Bucks. But I think Giannis triple-double actually might have a decent opportunity in this game. But I think, once again, Utah is a team that's 3-15 at home. They're really, really bad. They've lost 5 in a row. They don't guard anybody. They've given up at least 123 in 4 straight, so I think I'll go over once again. But, yeah, I don't really have much else. You?
I think the Bucks should roll in this game. It is the first leg of a back-to-back, but it's not a look ahead. They play Portland tomorrow. And then the Jazz are also on the front leg of a back-to-back. They go to Golden State, or I should say San Francisco Bay Area, to take on the Warriors tomorrow. But I think it's just take Giannis PR and just kind of move on with your life, and just hopefully that cashes for you, because it should be a big game for you. And again, if Kessler does not play in this game, I think if he does play in this game, I think Milwaukee, and more specifically Giannis, just dominates on the boards here. But this is a game they should roll, take care of business. I'll lay the -9 here with the Milwaukee Bucks. Over as well. The recent matchups between these two teams have been higher scoring. If you want to take a look at Milwaukee team total over, couldn't talk you off of that. They had a stretch where they had scored 122 plus points in 5 straight games. Fell a little bit short against against the Clippers in their previous game, which was on Saturday. They scored 117 and lost in that game. But I do like Milwaukee. Like you mentioned, they could walk into 130 plus here. So I'll lay the points here, -9. And if they do cover this number, I do think that it would be that the Bucks had a big offensive night as well. So yeah, Bucks for me in this spot. Bucks team total over, Giannis PR to go over as well. You got anything else for this game?
Yeah, I see people in the comment section talking about Dame having back-to-back triple-doubles. If you actually look at Giannis's numbers against Utah, I think it might be a Giannis triple-double game, because Giannis has had 11-plus assists in 3 of the last 4 against Utah. And from what I remember watching how they guard Giannis, they use a lot of zone, and they try to limit Giannis points-wise. But his assists, I think, are actually pretty live in this game. It's at 5.5. I think that he's got a decent shot at a triple-double. That's at around 7-1, give or take. I don't mind it. I think Giannis might be in line for triple-double in this game instead.
Excuse me. Jazz, or I should say Dame, has been pretty dominant against his Portland Trailblazers team with all his time with Portland. But
I think it might flip. I think Dame had 2 triple-doubles. I think Giannis does now, and maybe Dame drops like 35.
Yeah, Dame in the matchup earlier this season had 34 points and 7 assists in that game. 4 threes. Let's see if Giannis did. I don't think Giannis. Oh, yeah, and Giannis did play in that game. He did have 16 rebounds and 31 points. Only had 2 assists in that game, but yeah. And no Bobby Portis tonight as well. So, all right. Anything else for this game, Scott?
No, not really. It's a game that I'm not that interested in, but I'm sure you could find some props.
Yep. All right. Last game of the night here. We've got the LA Clippers. They are in Phoenix to take on the Suns. Clippers currently laying 2 points here on the road here with a total of 225. Injury report for the LA Clippers, pretty clean. Usual guys are out. Chris Dunn, Jordan Miller are out. And then for the Phoenix Suns, pretty clean injury report for them as well. Only guys on the injury report are players on 2-way deals. Should mention that Ryan Dunn is going to be out for this game. He has a left ankle sprain for the Phoenix Suns. So a key 3-and-D guy going to be out for this game. Clippers laying 2 in Phoenix here, Scott. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so the Suns have been better lately. Nick Richards has been a big piece for them, and I do think that Dunn being out is somewhat of a big deal because he's a good defensive player. Clippers, though, have been good. They're not as good on the road, though, being 9-11 away from home. Suns are 2-0 so far this season. The first meeting went to overtime. Second game was close. Both games were in LA, though. So the Suns were able to go into LA and win. I think I'm going to go with the Suns. The Clippers being favored, I think, might just be an overreaction to the game against Milwaukee, where Harden had 40, etc. The Suns, once again, have matched up pretty well against this team. I'll go with the Suns at home. I think that plus money is a decent deal. I don't feel great about it, but I think the wrong team might be favored in the spot. I'll go with the Suns money line.
Yeah, usually like betting teams catching points at home, but the Clippers have been really good to me. I've been betting on them for the past.
I like the Clippers as a team, but I just think laying 2 here is a little bit much for me.
Sure, yeah, it makes sense. I think this could be a game that comes down to the wire. Clippers on the road this season, ATS wise, just 3-2 as road favorites, both in the first half and second half. Phoenix catching points at home, not much there. They're 3-3 ATS. So I think that it feels like this is when it's going to come down to the wire, and at that point, you probably want the points. So I look at the Phoenix Suns side here as well. They're healthy. Nick Richards, like you mentioned, has been a big difference maker. Had 19 rebounds in the last game, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Devin Booker's been playing well. Kevin Durant's been getting his as well. But I think a lot of that has been talked about is guys coming off of the bench for this Phoenix Suns team. Like Grayson Allen's been shooting the basketball well. Bradley Beal, amidst all the trade rumors, he's still getting his contribution, scoring points and racking up the assist as well. So yeah, Phoenix +2 here at home against the Clippers. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch for sure. I'll have my eyes on this game here for this game. Anything for total?
Total, not really. I think it's over or pass.
All right, fair enough. All right, so that is the last game of the night for the Monday card. 12 games on the schedule. Should be a lot of fun here tonight, but what will be even better if we make you guys some money getting to our lock and dog here. Scott, you want to lead us off?
Sure. So for the lock on the show, I think I actually am going to go to a pretty degen play, but I still like it. I'm going to go with the Pelicans team total under 118.5 at -118. I think it's a very high number for New Orleans, who's 4-18 on the road. Toronto, I said before, has been very good defensively compared to what they were in the beginning of the season. It's a high number. You said before that DeJounte might not play. They might not have the point guard. Zion played last game. They still only scored 92 points. Like, I feel like New Orleans is just a horrible team, especially on the road. Toronto's been good in Canada. So I think that is a high number. Give me the Pelicans team total under 118.5 as my lock at -118. For my dog, thought about doing something for an alt player prop. And it might actually involve the last game. But the question is, do I want to go with it? You know what? I like the price quite a bit. Give me Nick Richards over 11.5 rebounds at +210. I think it's a great price. He's at 15+ rebounds in 2 straight. We know Nurkic doesn't play anymore. You're looking at the workload and the overall minutes that Richards gets. Clearly, you're looking at the coaching staff, and Budenholzer loves him because he plays 30+ minutes a game now, and he's clearly been an impactful addition since he showed up on the roster. They have Zubac on the other side, so he's going to have to actually play some minutes to stop the actual center that the Clippers use. Foul trouble maybe is an issue, but the lack of center depth, I'm not a big Plumlee guy, and I feel like it's a good spot for Richards. 11.5 rebounds, though, a +210, when he had 19 last game and 15 the game prior. I think it's a very good price. Give me Richards over 11.5 rebounds at +210.
All right. All right, for my lock, there's 2 plays that I really like. It was either the Magic laying the points or the over in the Grizzlies and the Knicks game. I think I'll go with the Grizzlies and Knicks over. I mean, we talked about this Memphis team. Don't play a lot of defense, play with a lot of pace, and it's been working for them, right? And the Knicks at home, again, they're offensively, they've been really good. Defense has been a bit of a question mark for them, but I do think that this will be one of the higher scoring games of the night. It's at 241.5 right now, so I'll take that over as my lock. 241.5 between the Grizzlies and the Knicks. For my dog, didn't like a lot of outright dogs here tonight. Feel like it was a little chalky card for myself. Just want to kind of see how Paulo Banchero's done against the Heat. I think his double-double is something that I'm really intrigued by. I want to see what the price is on that. Let's see. So Paulo tonight to get a double-double. Plus 220.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. Historically against the Heat, he's done pretty well. Gotten very, very close to those triple doubles. 8 career meetings against the Miami Heat. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4 double doubles. He's been 1 rebound shy of another double double, and then in 2 separate games, he finished with 8 rebounds each. So I think that if he can get over that hump and get those rebounds here, I think that he's in line to have a pretty good game here for the Orlando Magic. Yeah, I know Goga Batadze is back, but he's coming off the concussion, so I don't expect him to be out there for a lot of minutes, and I do expect a minutes increase for Pancaro. So I'll take his double-double at plus 220 currently over on DraftKings as my dog of the night. All right. One last order of business. Underdog Fantasy entry here for tonight. Again, get over there, underdogfantasy.com. New account users, make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. You'll get a special pick and a first-time deposit offer of 50% of up to $1,000. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. All right, Scott. Where do we want to start here for tonight?
Yeah, so I think I'll start off with Richards and 9.5 rebounds, and I know you mentioned Paolo, so you want to just roll those two back?
Yeah, we can do that. Let me get to Underdog here. All right, so NBA Nick Richards, higher, 9.5 rebounds. We'll go Paolo. His rebounds are at 7.5.
Okay.
You want to go PR for him, or you just want to play their rebounds?
I'll let you pick because you wanted Paolo.
I think the rebounds, because the numbers are backing it up, and I think we'll see a minutes increase, and it's also at a 1.13x on his rebound, so we'll go with that. And then let's throw in one more for tonight.
All right. You want to go Amen Thompson rebounds?
Yeah.
Cool. That's a 9.5.
Can't talk you off of that.
I mean, he's at 14 plus in 2 straight, so.
Yeah. All right. That gets us the closest we could get to 6x, 5.99. So every $10 that you do put in, you'll get a return of $59.90. Again, if all three, in fact, do get to the correct side of things. So again, just to recap, we're going with a rebounding prop here for tonight. That is going to be, oh, I had the wrong Thompson in there. Good thing I caught that. Let me take off. All right, so this gets to 5.92. So rebounding prop, or rebounding entry here for tonight. Nick Richards, higher, 9.5 rebounds. Paulo Pancaro, higher, 7.5 rebounds. And then Amen Thompson, higher, 9.5 rebounds at 0.93x for Amen. That total gets you to 5.92x. So every $10 that you put in on that rebounding entry for those three gentlemen is going to get you a return of $59.20 if all three of those, in fact, are correct. All right, that's going to do it here for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast. Scott, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
No, not really. Once again, a lot of overall games, and hopefully they're going to be competitive. Hopefully we don't get too much of the National Blowout Association tonight. But Either way, though, I'm looking forward to the card. Should be fun.
Yep, big card here tonight in the NBA. So hopefully we get it on the side of the winning side of things to start the week as we progress through the week here. So should be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys follow Scott over on Twitter at Reichel Radio. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. If you haven't already, please do us a favor. Hit that like button on the stream on your way out and hit that subscribe button for us as well if you can. If you haven't already, subscribed to the NBA Gambling Podcast YouTube channel. We're ever so closer to getting to 3,500. So we want to get to 5,000 by the end of the regular season for the YouTube channel here. So can only do that with the help of you if you hit that subscribe button for us. Should be back tomorrow with Scott and Terrell on the NBA pod for the Tuesday games. Look out for the guys then. Till then, good luck with your bets here tonight. Let's break these books off and always remember to let it ride.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm